34 minutes after the hour, Americans. Hugh Hewitt, thank you for listening to the Hugh Hewitt Show. Coming up next hour, the Entrepreneur Hour. I've got all the interview with John Huntsman will be posted a little bit later. Dwayne will type that up. I got it from last hour. Mark Stein, of course, will be at hughhewitt.com as well. But I'm devoting last segment and the next two to talking to Pete Bowen, who is the president of Servite High School down in Anaheim, California, where more than 800 young men are, they're not there because it's Thursday afternoon. Tell people where they are on Thursday afternoon, Pete Bowen.
Every Thursday afternoon, whether we're in school or not for the last 4 years, we have a dedicated group of young men and some of the girls from our girls' schools who go out and beg for food. We're a Catholic order that's known for our begging. So our young men go out and beg for food, and then they prepare 80 to 100 meals every Thursday, and then they go down to Anaheim, one of the parks in Anaheim, and they serve the homeless. And the point of it is not to put calories in the bellies of hungry people. The point of it is that the meal is a way to break bread and share with people who are creatures of God, creations of God, and really see Christ in them and be Christ to them and practice loving them. And, you know, when you the first time you give a really smelly, nasty guy a hug, it's sort of awkward. But when you get to know that person as a real human being who's got challenges in life like you do, you learn how to love them, and then it becomes a relationship, and that's what we want.
All right, so that's what they're doing this afternoon. But now let's walk through the program. Why does Servite work? And by work, I mean produce leaders. And why don't you explain what you mean by leaders?
Well, we think that one of the big problems in America is if we don't solve the problem of making good leaders, we can't solve any problem out there, whether it's global warming or the homeless or the economy. We need good leaders. So good leaders, we need wise leaders, people who aren't just smart, but have wisdom. So instead of education like it's normally done in the schools, which is really focused on the classroom, and it's all about test grades and all about scores and all that, instead of just focusing on that, we add a character component because wisdom is right knowledge plus right action. It's the truth plus good character. You have to know it. You have to practice it. It has to be a habit. So we're looking to develop, we have a formation program instead of education. We're looking to develop the next generation of leaders with wisdom, not just knowledge.
And so that starts before they enter the school.
It does. We start it with the expectations. We go out there and we say we're looking for kids, 280 kids every year, who are going to be the next generation of leaders, at least our component. We like to spread this out. And we tell them they're going to work their tails off. And if you're all about academics, then we're going to push you in other areas of your life, your spiritual, your character, your teamwork. And if you really enjoy athletics or the arts, that's great too, but we're going to push you academically. We're going to make you not just a smart or athletic person, but a really good person, the kind of young man you want your daughter to marry.
And so in terms of if you look at the finished product, and I asked you this beforehand, so I gave you a chance. If you took in an objective evaluator, and I suggested General Mel Spees, who you happen to know from your Marine Corps days, and I spent a couple of you watched him. You didn't know him. He was a platoon leader when you were a young man. He went in. He could tell the difference between a Servite high school and any other high school in America. Why?
It's the way the young men act, the way they behave, the way they treat you. And I think I encourage people, come on our campus, and I think what I've heard over and over and over from people for the last 5 years, whether they're parents or just people visiting, our young men come up to you, they introduce themselves, they ask if you need help. It's hard to find our office. They take you to our office. They understand that hosting people on the campus, that kind of hospitality is just as important as anything we do. And that practicing that helps make them a better person.
I also asked you, and I want you to confirm for the audience, if we actually were able to observe closely your 1,000 young men, would they have a statistically less frequent incidence of drug use, alcohol abuse, intimate relationships that are inappropriate? Would they statistically be significantly different from the general population?
Much more than significantly different. I mean, I'm not going to claim those things don't happen on the campus, but they happen at a much, much lower rate. We don't paper over things and pretend they're really nice. When we have alcohol or drug or other kinds of issues on the campus, we pull it up, we all take a look at it, and we understand that's part of life. And challenges people are going to face later in life include, hey, unintended pregnancy. Hey, my daughter or son has a drug addiction. Hey, we have these challenges that we have to address. So we don't paper over things and pretend it's all pretty. We tend to use those things as learning experiences so our young men deal with hard issues early so they can help lead people through those issues later in their lives.
30 seconds to the break, people. And how are the academics?
Academics are among the very top in Orange County. We send people to the Ivy League schools and across the whole spectrum. So it's very challenging academically.
I'll be right back with Pete Bone. He's the president of one of the most successful high schools in North America. It's the Servite High School in Anaheim, California. ServiteHS.org if you want to get a hold of Pete. He does lecture at the Department of Justice in California to departments all across the country, West Point, Duke, on this, and we'll tell you why, what he hopes to scale when we come back on The Hugh Hewitt Show.